Hey there, little Redbots, this is Red J Let's Play, and if you've been keeping up to date with me, you'll remember I did hit a video a couple weeks ago called The Pixar Theory. It's a wildly popular fan theory. Maybe I'll leave a card to it if you want to check that out. But also, a couple weeks ago, I addressed an issue we previously addressed by I Am the Most Wanted, about how or the Need for Speed universe is connected. I'll leave the Pixar Theory card here, the Need for Speed card here, if I even am going to. But today I'm going to do a little bit of both, and explain to you why the main protagonist of most Need for Speed games is Ryan Cooper. Ryan Cooper is the protagonist of Need for Speed Pro Street Heat, and there have been a bunch of theories circling around about asking if he appeared in other Need for Speed games, then what and in what order. People would mostly assume that it would be just Underground 1 through to Undercover. But a guy named StubbyFreshTributes, I'll leave his channel in the description, thinks otherwise. And when he compiled it all into one video, he even left in the tower section so his own hits of filler that he wrote himself, I guess. So anyway, let's get on with the theory here itself. So unlike the common thought that it's just Underground through to Undercover in that order, he has the idea here that's being covered here is that it starts with Need for Speed Carbon, Own the City. This was a handheld adaptation of the original Need for Speed Carbon, created by Pocketeer. Is for DS and PSP systems, I think, because they made Most Wanted 510. Well, unlike Most Wanted 510, the Carbon Own the City had its own story. Through each game, I'll be giving a brief synopsis of the game itself, mixed with StubbyFreshTributes filler. So Ryan Cooper began with the footsteps of his older brother, Michael Rogers, or Mick for short. We're pretty sure that one of them was adopted, but not 100% sure which. However, there's a high doubt that it was Ryan. Mick was a better driver than him for the last couple of years. Ever since he created the crew in Coast City, the city in Own the City, he called the Lucky Sevens. And it was one of the city's dominating crews. And during this time, crews like the Scorpions, Kings, and maybe the Los Cabrioles, these crews which appear in the full Need for Speed Carbon, are more likely to be seen in control of Palmont. Crews were hiding in and out of every city Hitty when Mick was alive. Over time, he met a girl, or Sarah, and she became his lady friend. As he progresses, he and his brother have a little bit of sibling rivalry / conflict. As Mick gains more power and control over the Lucky Sevens. During this time, Ryan had met a wingman, Carter, who had become his personal ace wingman. The climax of this game is Ryan being bossed around by Mick because of his slow driving. Because of Ryan's slow driving and Mick's own aggressiveness. The big moment in the game, it happens next. Mick and Ryan were in the middle, were racing each other, and then Ryan runs himself in, or ends up running headfirst into a semi. Mick also had a devastating crash, but instead of a little bit of memory which was taken from Ryan, it took Mick's life. 6 months later, Ryan managed to recover, and Sarah managed to pick Ryan up along with Sarah and Carter. Together, the three headed to the graveyards to check Mick's grave, and after that, Sarah showed Ryan a picture of an orange Nissan S13 or 240SX, whichever you prefer. Based on its livery, Ryan was able to deduce the driver served with a subsidiary of the East Siders crew of Olympic City. The subsidiary run by a driver named Poor Boy. After a couple races, they found that Poor Boy had nothing to do with the crash. As Ryan progressed, he, Sarah, and Carter headed to a warehouse district where the leader of the Crimson crew wants to see Ryan. A man by the name of X, who claims to have some information about Ryan and Mick. And in doing so, he says they need to find Buddy. During this conversation, an explosion happens, one that presumably takes Sarah's life. However, a Toyota MR2 barely escaped with Sarah inside. Despite this, Ryan progressed, being bosses and regaining mixed territory. During all this time, he got some information from other bosses of some different crews, who's eventually meeting the leader of a crew called the Corps, which consists of retired veterans and officers turned street racers. All of them undercover regarding Mick's crash. When asked about the issue, they gave Ryan a phone, which in the end puts X on custody over Mick's decision of personal justice. And finally, Sarah revealed herself to be alive by pulling up in a Nissan 350Z head, challenging Ryan himself. After which, they talked about what really happened that night. It's simple. That night, Ryan knew that if he won, he would have been no better than Mick. So commissioned his death from X, but didn't know Buddy he would be used to actually do the deed. Upon having this restored, Ryan gave away the lucky heavens to either Sarah or Carter, or just gave up on the crew entirely. I'm guessing this is where Ryan heads off to Palmont, because after that, Darius, the antagonist for Need for Speed Carbon, hires him for a race that involves a ton of cash and the District of Silverton. And representing the Stacked Deck team in a race against the three against the heads of the three major crews in Palmont City: Bushido's Kenji, TFK's Wolf, and 21st Street's Angie. While preparing for this, he has a relation with the mechanic whom the Supra he would be using for the race, Nikki. But during this time, Ryan has no idea, since during this time with Darius, he knows what Ryan's fully capable of. Darius had already a contingency plan in place. As if Ryan was a full member of Stacked Decks, the other three, the police intervened, putting the other three in custody over Darius's plan. And that night, basically all their power had drained in the Silverton district. This race was not only about money, but about territory. Basically, Darius puts up Ryan to race for him, but Kenji, Angie, and Wolf are not aware of what is coming, and so the plan is simple. The bag that Nikki holds at the start of the race, the true money bag, if you will, was containing cash and ownership over the territories of Silverton, maybe even just the right heights of full ownership to the profits of casinos. Meanwhile, the fake one that Nikki hands off to Ryan, and as she couldn't get away from the cops, contains just scraps of paper, just in case the plan fails. But the plan goes as Darius wants it to. But as a measure of insurance, he commissions some cops to let Ryan past. Because he doesn't want Ryan involved in the situation, which in return, Ryan is the one who was to own Silverton. As such, the price on his head was particularly big. So Darius suggests that between the Heat and the other crews, Ryan's only option is to walk away. Hey, Ryan acknowledges this and uses the Supra to escape from that tragic night. In these moments where he's deciding what he should do next, he changes to Super's appearance so that when he's traveling with a small amount of cash, the cops will not care as the color has gone from blue to orange despite it being the same car. Side note, this trick can be used to lower your own wanted level in Need for Speed Most Wanted and Carbon, I'm pretty sure. Well, at least Most Wanted. Getting a small amount of attention in Olympic City, he's offered a chance to go underground. When his career begins to shine in street racing magazines and such, but what he isn't aware of is that Darius is watching. During the opening moments of the game, you meet a girl called Samantha, who helps Ryan to progress. As he gathered more attention in Olympic City, he picked up an interest to a girl named Samantha and preferred her to go up against the main East Siders crew, who, especially after what he faced in Coast City, was just a subsidiary of that. Ryan is then convinced to turn on Samantha, and after facing her, he faced Melissa. After her was TJ with Samantha's Honda Civic, and you would say that would be all he could do in Olympic City. However, there was just one final thing he had to do: wipe the East Siders clean from Olympic City. To do that, he would defeat Eddie, and upon doing so, claim the pink slip hippie agent on the hatch, which just so happened to go to the skyline he was using. Ryan, before leaving, Ryan has one last thing to do to solidify his reputation. Ryan enters the Underground Rivals League with his new rivals simply known for their cars. If you don't know what Need for Speed Rivals is, it's basically the Most Wanted 510 of the Underground series. He's again designed made for handheld by Pocketeers, and all you do in this is just work up the ladder against his drivers like the GT King in a Skyline, DJ West in a Corvette, Triple Dub in a Subaru Impreza, and Tank in a Dodge Charger, the classic one. In whichever order, Ryan is able to take them all, to beat them all by using more cars and earning more cash and reputation. As many an enthusiast and opportunist watched over Ryan's actions, one night after imposing his skill on a race, he's offered some kind of deal, by by a man hidden by shadow. Was known. All Ryan knew of him was that he served with the crew named the Wraiths. While Ryan was driving to a party and is making a quick detour at the coordinates given, a Humvee comes in out of nowhere and wrecks his prized Skyline. Six months later, he makes his way to Bayview, in which begins Underground 2. Samantha advises him to meet a friend, Rachel, who was loaned him her now famous 350Z head, the green one. Waiting for Ryan at the airport. Some challenges came in over the car's SMS system. And Ryan takes a stop at a couple of these to make some money. Pulling in, Rachel will comment that Ryan had certainly taken his time. After buying his first car, Ryan was presented to new race types exclusive to Bayview and like a little bit of the surrounding area, maybe. That are the Street Cross Races and the URL. Underground Racing League. He would only qualify for that hat by getting a couple of companies to sponsor his driving, and in doing so, Rachel offers to be his agent. During this time, even Ryan got the Wraith's attention, thus racing against Nikki, the co-leader of the crew, who has a connection and affiliation with the man who wrecked the Skyline, Caleb Reese. Upon Ryan's victory, Caleb was furious that Nikki wouldn't do whatever it takes to deny him victory. However, disappointed that he wouldn't be satisfied with her racing straight up, decided to transfer her to Ryan's side, as if the plan of beating Once all of Caleb's support was gone, the only thing he could do to deny Ryan to maintain a presence in the city, he was to challenge Ryan one-on-one. However, this didn't go as planned. As Ryan ended up beating the Wraith leader, putting Caleb broke out of business and out of the Bayview Underground. Rachel took credit for this whole endeavor, thus letting Ryan step up his game. This time, he'd head off to Ventura Bay and start Need for Speed 2015. He arranged a meeting with Spike, whom you may remember from the Let's Play as being the guy who was obsessed with speed, and Magnus Walker. This meeting involved a race with Ryan using a Mustang GT Fox body against a BMW E30 M3. The conclusion of this race got the attention of Travis, the outlaw, who gave him an opportunity to show off with Travis's crew, and get their help gaining the attention of the icons. If you remember from the Let's Play, Manu was obsessed with style and getting the attention of Ken Block. Amy was obsessed with Akira Nakai-san. And the art of build. Robin, what I wanted to show her Ryan how good it would be to drive in a crew with the aid of the Risky Devils. And Travis just wanted to show her Ryan how good it felt to bait cops with the aid of Shinichi Morohoshi-san. Ryan got them some help and managed to do so by getting the attention of all the icons, eventually culminating in the final race of Need for Speed 2015. Full video on that by clicking the card to see the Let's Play. With all five combined elements of that perfect Need for Speed moment, in which Need for Speed 2015 was going for, Ryan was able to finish his first non-legal street machine, the now famous BMW E46 M3 GTR. I would know her as Alicia, having given her that name myself. She's not legal under US regulations, and so Ryan decides to step his game up, delivering himself to Rockport after making a sudden reputation in Ventura. And as if Darius was just watching, Ryan thought that it'd be the same thing again. However, there would be a bit more of a orange this time. Darius hired Cross of Rockport PD to stop Ryan from progressing by arresting him. But in terms of Melissa, Travis, Rachel, well, they wouldn't let that happen. So they sent in the Mazda driver, Mia, to help Ryan and get him a little bit of reputation in hopes that he can challenge the blacklist. He made a name for himself by beating Ronnie McCrea. He's introduced to Razor, the driver holding the number 15 spot on the list. The theory itself suggests that Razor has no connection with Darius, but his power and secretive fame in terms of illegally running the streets, he just knows that Alicia is a legend, which in the end he's a complete idiot of just getting the car, not knowing what Ryan's capable of, meaning that the wise decision would have been letting Ryan work for him, as opposed to being complete knob to Ryan. Plus some don't really enjoy Alicia's handling capability in Most Wanted. I tried it in Need for Speed Carbon, and as I had already been used to it by playing Most Wanted, I found no issue with it. Running it in quick races down toge routes, and seeing how it did drifting, but that worked after a little bit of practice, that is. After Mia vouched for him, Razor sent Toru Bull Sato to deal with him. With the aid of local PD. However, this plan failed, with Ryan winning the race and shaking his police tail. So their only option was to wait for Ryan to get enough reputation to challenge Razor in an official blacklist race, where the buy-in was the pink slip to the car being used. And guarantee their victory by just sabotaging Alicia, forcing Ryan to forfeit the race and hand her over to Razor. The dense nad. Since Cross was on Darius's pair, was on payroll. Since Cross was on Darius's payroll, he had all the authority and reason necessary to arrest Ryan. But since Ryan didn't cause I doubt but if you've played Most Wanted, you'll know that Cross didn't have enough on Ryan to keep him in jail for long. The theory explains that this is Ryan only disobeying some traffic laws, and Mia and Cross are unable to file a report on each other, as it will just break the competition between Ryan and Darius, as Mia was on the payroll all of Ryan's old colleagues. And even more than that, it would be a scandal, since they both served with the Rockport PD. So Ryan was released. He's acquired both a new car and garage in which he could use as a safe house. Over time, Ryan prepared himself for vengeance by challenging the blacklist and making his way to the #1 spot, beating every driver on the way. They are, in order of Ryan's victory over them, Ho Sunny Sen in a VW Golf GTI, Vince Taz Keelik in a Lexus IS 300, Victor Vic Vasquez, Isabel Izzy Diaz in a Supra and RX-8 respectively, Big Lou Park in a Mitsubishi Eclipse GT, Eugene Earl James in a Evo 8, Jade Jules Barrett in a Mustang, Kira Kamikaze Nakazato in a Mercedes CLK 500, Hector Ming Domingo in a Lamborghini Gallardo, Wes Webster Allen in a Corvette C6, Joe J.V. Vega in a Viper SRT 10, Ronnie Bull and Clarence Razor Callahan himself in an Aston Martin DB9, as opposed to the Supra he used in the beginning of the game. His old SLR and Alicia, respectively. After acquiring Ronnie's DB9 and done his protocol to it, he contacts Kenji back in Palma to update him on what's been happening in the city. Who warns him that it's no longer welcoming of him. After taking on Bull, he finally faced Razor and if you've played Most Wanted, you'll remember that Mia was able to arrest Razor, but Cross chose to go after Ryan in piloting Alicia. He was only able to make it off to shake his tail by jumping off a bridge, which led to Fairhaven, tying Most Wanted 2012 into the mix. However, while there isn't much of a story, we can say we do know that through the Need for Speed Legends car pack, you can drive Eddie's Skyline, Rachel's Nissan, Alicia, and the Porsche, which was the cover car from Need for Speed Undercover. I'm guessing this is the evidence he's using to tie Most Wanted 2012 in. But after conquering the blacklist at Fairhaven, and trying to make way, he was captured by the Tri-City PD and put to work for an undercover operation, driving as a car thief, car boost. The superior Chase Lynn knew that the cop was looking for a very specific car, and neither of his two who originally he'd seemed to have the car, but his feminine accomplice, Miss Carmen Mendez, knows that the brother of original contact Hector Mayo, Zach, stole a BMW M6 or the Porsche that appears in the Need for Speed Legends car pack from someone he shouldn't have. Evidence for this was that Hector really freaked and asked her to keep it safe. Upon acquiring this car, he brought it to the warehouses of the crime lord Charles Wu in exchange for the release of Chase Lynn. And however, she quickly turned, killing Wu and his men and pinning it on Ryan. She tried to escape in the M6 mixed with the important cargo inside, but was taken out by Ryan, who gave this information to Lieutenant Keller and cleared his name and record, much like the deal, much like was agreed in Too Fast, Too Furious. Also, my respects to the late Paul Walker, one with the Force. Despite his record being clear, Ryan couldn't retire from the sport he loved. Because of this, Ryan was declared the national most wanted, where he then, only after finishing up in the Tri-City, does he return to Palma, only to find Darius was prepared for him and Cross, having a hard time with Rockport PD, he had stooped to bounty hunting. Nikki was asked to show her old flame the ropes, so as to remove, to do as he did that other tragic night and remove the of Bushido, TFK, and 21st Street. This time, Ryan beat them all in turn, first in the city, then toegang down a canyon. And after defeating each one of their lieutenants defected, claiming to have information about what happened on the night of the tragic race. Summing up that someone tipped off the popo. Someone let Ryan get away, and someone made sure that Nikki gave Ryan a bag of scraps. That someone just happened to be Darius. Over time, Ryan feels betrayed after putting all the pieces together. As such, he's convinced he deserves Silverton, which he kind of does. But Darius wouldn't relinquish it that easily. As things had progressed much further than he thought possible, Darius was forced to cash Ryan out and give him the cross. But in turn, after Nikki learns what happened that night from the perspective of the defectants, she too defects from the stacked deck and joins with Ryan, releasing him from Cross. With the aid of Neville, Sal, Yumi, Colin, Samson, and Nikki, the final four having defected from the other crews, they'd finally finished acquiring the remaining territories in Silverton that the stacked deck had owned. During this time, Darius had commissioned the three heads of the other three crews, Kenji, Angie, and Wolf, and gave them some resources to work new higher tier cars that were a Evo 9, a Challenger, and a Murcielago, respectively. They were convinced that as a team they could beat Ryan and keep him from defeating Darius. However, he crushed them all on his own, after which he finally confronted Darius in his Audi R8 Le Mans. Darius in turn had suffered the same fate of the other crew boss, losing Silverton and to Ryan, who now owned the keys to all four crew boss cars, the entire Palmont City, and a big load of cash, in which Nikki was to be held charge of. Ryan then now decided that his crew should be in charge over his territory in Palma, while he goes to make a name for himself on the track. On the track, he manages to secure himself a spot in the battle machine in race here. He's ready to take on the Pro Street. There, he met Ryo Watanabe, the Showdown King, who scolded Ryan on their first encounter. Ryan made a huge progression, frequenting battle machine, React Team sessions, and super promotion races. Using Showdown events to make his way to them. But he also received invites from event-specific race organizations like Nitrocide, Noise Bomb, G-Effect, and Rogue Speed. Specific to speed, drift, grip, and drag, respectively. There, he met the kings of the Pro Street, Heat, Big Nate Denver, Aki Kimura, Ray Krieger, and Carol Monroe at their respective race organizations. After each defeating each of them, gave him their crowns and their cars, in which he finally had the tools necessary to compete in the final showdown for a race against Ryo himself. And racing across all speed and drag tracks at Nevada and drift and grip tracks in Tokyo, Ryan was finally able to defeat Ryo and claim the Showdown King crown, as well as his Evo 10. With all 5 crowns under his belt, Ryan had acquired the title of Street King. With this new authority, he was permitted entry to the full professional Need for Speed racing series. He's tying Shift into this. Here he met with more champions who had offered some of their prized cars up for prizes of specific racing championship. Champions who offered these cars up included Von Gittin Jr., Darren McNamara, Chris Rado, Mad Mike, Tommy Milner, and Jamie Campbell-Walter. Ryan's journey culminated in reaching the FIA Racing Championship, which had him racing drivers above and under his category, eventually reaching the GT1 and GT3 series championships. And that's all the theory set speaks of. However, the writer, StubbyFreshTributes, doesn't seem to want to end there, as he's convinced that the other protagonists, Jack Rourke of Need for Speed The Run, Zephyr and Fate of Need for Speed Rivals, Racer and Police story arcs respectively, and Toby Marshall from the movie. He also produced mysteries on how to envelop to create a greater Need for Speed verse. Until he's finished writing those theories on how to tie them in like, maybe he suggests that Ryan Cooper is Zephyr, or that Fate is the undercover is the protagonist in Undercover, not Ryan. Until then, we can't say for sure. Well, but for my question of the day, what do you think? Can you who solve those mysteries? He's behind the other protagonists, or do you have questions about this theory and any other theory I've addressed so far? That's only been the Pixar theory. Or do you have a theory of your own that you'd like me to cover? Leave all that in the comments section down below. But that is all from me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.